I've got the biggest spoiler of all. Spoiler, spoiler, shocker. This was a great episode. Great ending, too. Mickeleh here. May as well make this a very short review because I have nothing to complain about this week. Well, one complaint, 3 questions. I'll save them for the extras. The Zygon Inversion, Episode 8, Series 9. I'm going to call this one the Zygon Redemption. All is forgiven, yes. I'm taking a cue from the Doctor. I forgive you, Stephen Moffat. I even forgive you, Peter Harness. Notice that Stephen took a co-writing credit on this episode, not the previous one. Directed, as was last week's episode, by Daniel Nettheim. Good job. Last week's Part 1 put everyone into a deep hole, and I don't just mean the underground lair of the Zygon hatchery. I don't just mean the peril for our main characters. I mean the viewers. I see some people enjoyed that episode. Well, some people also enjoy root canal, what can I say? See my review on the Zygon Invasion for some of my complaints, and stay tuned for the extras for some of your complaints. In this episode, Doctor Who not only climbed out of last week's hole, they took Ingrid Oliver, Jenna Coleman, and especially Peter Capaldi to new heights. Excellent performances by the cast. Ingrid Oliver had so many scenes with the Doctor it almost felt as though she were auditioning for companion. The scenes were so good, very snappy banter, good jokes. I was kind of disappointed when she declined his offer to come aboard the TARDIS. Side note, Earth now has a trio of guardians, the 2 Osgoods, nice twist on that ending, and Lady Me, the former Ashildr. Is Moffat building to something? He always is. Could it be part of the Doctor's obsession with Hydrads? Probably. Something's coming. Could it involve Clara's exit? Stay tuned. I really like that Osgood's role in this story had some agency and initiative. She was ahead of the Doctor, figuring out that Clara was still alive. She was ahead of him on strategizing. She wasn't just a one-joke send-up of the cosplaying fan. By the way, how many cosplayers have the BBC to do their wardrobe? I think it's cool that Osgood is such a stickler for continuity. Last week it was the ambiguous dating of the 4th Doctor's adventure with the Zygons. This week it was the acronym TARDIS. What does it stand for? Time and Relative Dimension in Space. Or is the D dimensions? Well, if this is something you spend a lot of time researching, maybe it's dementia. Jenna Coleman continues to make a specialty of acting inside confined spaces. She's been in numerous Daleks, now she's been in a pod. I guess actors must relish the chance to play multiple roles in a show. Do they get paid more? Certainly happens a lot. Here are some of my favorites through the years, both films and television shows. I don't think anyone will top this one. Alec Guinness in Kind Hearts and Coronets. Now for her performances as Clara and Bonnie, I'll give Jenna Coleman the Wheezy Waiter Award for acting with a clone. Their scenes were exceptionally well written. In many ways, this episode plays like it's part 3 of The Day of the Doctor. In that 50th anniversary special, the Doctor, well, 3 of them, got a mulligan on destroying the home planet in the Time War. Had a giddy assist from all of his incarnations, including Peter Capaldi's eyes. That was our first teasing glimpse of the 12th Doctor. In this episode, 12 truly comes into his own, polished dialogue all the way through. My favorite line, "You know I'm over 2,000 years old. I'm old enough to be your Messiah." I wonder if the BBC got any nastygrams on that one. I wonder if BBC America did. The Zygon Inversion gives the Doctor a chance to show us what he has learned in those 2,000 years. The episode builds to a brilliantly played scene where the Doctor makes the definitive anti-war speech of the series. It's a speech tailored to Capaldi's skill at oratory. I think it's hard to imagine any other Doctor delivering those lines that well. Note, a Ductocode has transcribed the scene, posted it to Reddit. I'll give you a link in the doobly-doo. It's a really great scene. It's a finger-on-the-button scene that echoes Day of the Doctor, also echoes the history of the Cold War, the nuclear strategy known as MAD, Mutual Assured Destruction. Press the button, everyone dies. So far it's worked. Nobody's pressed the button. By the way, best film on that subject, Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove or How I Stopped Worrying and Loved the Bomb, starring Peter Sellers, who also gets a Wheezy Award for acting with a clone. The Doctor's big speech was such a definitive scene. Part of me wishes the entire run of the show had just ended right there. Seriously, I don't think we'll ever get a stronger statement of the Doctor's core values. Where can we go from here except down? This would have been the perfect moment to take your bows, pack up the scenery, auction off the props and costumes, leave on a note of triumph. But according to Stephen Moffat in an interview, we have at least 5 years more of Doctor Who. Let's see if Moffat can top this episode. Lots of hints in the media that he'll try to top it with a heartbreaking exit for Clara. I don't know if I'm looking forward to that one. Until next time, I'm Mickeleh. DVD extras. Okay, 3 questions, some trivia, your comments, and a commentary. First, U.S. running time minus commercials is 45 minutes. UK running time is 50 minutes. What am I missing? Anybody know? Second, left over from last week, how is it that Commander Walsh recognized a church full of sparking hairballs as her troops? Third, this one puzzles me, how was the original peace treaty even set up? It seems that Zygons can't improvise a human-like appearance, they have to copy an actual human. So how did UNIT pick the 20 million humans to be copied? And what did they do with the originals? We know that the rebel Zygons will either store the original in a pod or reduce them to a sparking hairball. Surely that's not what UNIT did when they agreed to place 20 million Zygon refugees in the first place, is it? Okay, trivia. Doctor says, London, what a dump. London, what a dump. Famous line?
What a dump.
Quoting Elizabeth Taylor in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Hey, what's that from? What a dump.
Who's in turn quoting Betty Davis in Beyond the Forest.
What a dump.
Some of your comments. Eric Peter Schwartz left a nice note about staying in the real Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. By the way, more trivia about the show Truth or Consequences. Action Comics 127. Superman makes an appearance on the show in 1948. When Superman meets radio's Ralph Edwards, he finds out what Truth or Consequences really means. Patrick Lane on record with a prediction about the Osgood box. He got it right, and he got it wrong. It was exactly what Patrick said it was, but it was a bluff, and there were two of them. Some political notes. Gender politics. Kyle Ribsky, Cheers Kevin, all noted the prominence of women in this story. Kevin even noted it passes the Bechdel test. Look that up. Jack of Trades 80 posted a longish email from his sister. Excellent political analysis of the episode. Highly recommended. Link in the doobly-doo. Let me end with some commentary on the politics of terror and assimilation. A year ago, the episode Robot of Sherwood was hastily re-edited just before it aired. The powers that be decided to remove a decapitation scene in the wake of the horrific on-camera murder of Steven Sotloff by an ISIS thug. Last week, ISIS claimed to have brought down a Russian airliner, killing 224 people. Both the UK and US governments suspect a bomb on the plane. But this time, the Zygon Inversion aired intact. The BBC chose to keep a sequence of a shoulder-fired missile downing the doctor's plane. Have we just become desensitized? Or did the BBC think this was a feature, not a bug? Reinforcing the ripped-from-the-headlines theme of the Zygon story. I do have one major quarrel with the politics of this story. Certainly the message of peace is welcome, the doctor's big speech is sound, but the Zygons are asked to give up much more than their dreams of conquest. They're asked to renounce more than terrorism. They are asked to completely suppress their own nature and blend into the dominant culture. Is that really what we want from minorities? Total assimilation? Total abandonment of their heritage and identity? Do we want blacks to act white? Do we want Latinos and Asians to act European? Do we want Jews and Muslims to act Christian? Do we want gays to act straight? Zygons, you can live among us, you just have to get back into the closet. Always a risk when fantasy meets reality. In shows like this, the shows usually wind up getting surreal. I think it's a bad message. Here are some options for continued viewing. Other reviews of this episode across YouTube, and catch up on my reviews of previous episodes of Doctor Who. Now, I've been talking about YouTube Red. 2 videos so far. Still have some loose ends to clear up. Probably I'll have to do a third. And welcome new subscribers. I don't usually do games, but I did a game here. It's a game of Scrabble played under the influence. True account, no fiction. And some other Mickeleh classics behind it if you want to keep watching. Bye now.